was writing this speech, because I like to plan things out, I was originally starting it off, and it's really pessimistic, and it sounded more like a sob story. And I was just kind of, that's what I thought an icebreaker was. It's supposed to tell you these are the hard things in my life that have forged me into the man that I am now. And I decided that was not me at all. I definitely was not forged in anything, and I haven't experienced all really bad stuff. So, that being said, the three events in my life that have impacted me the most are my parents being there for me, going to the school that I went to, and my parents breaking up. And I don't say any of that for it to be a sob story, but I say it for the vision of optimism that I want to show you guys. So let me backtrack. My dad was born in Newark, New Jersey, and he lived in the projects. He's the youngest of 5 kids. His dad was born in Puerto Rico, only knew Spanish. He actually was attending the University of San Juan when the Korean War broke out, and he was drafted. And the thing about my grandfather was he's a conscientious objector. And what that means is he's a pacifist, he doesn't like to fight. Told the Army this, and the Army said, well, first of all, you're a loser. Second of all, you only know Spanish, so we're going to stick you in a tent, and you're going to work as a nurse. And he said, okay. My grandfather actually guarded dead bodies to make sure that no one stole the rings off of their hands, and no one stole gold teeth fillings or anything, with a broomstick, because he didn't want to carry a rifle. So, after the war, the Army decided, hey, you speak Spanish, pretty much Mexican, so they sent him to California. He had no connections there, he had no family, so he ended up hitchhiking his way to Chicago, where his brother lived, and then his brother took him to New Jersey, because New York was where all the Puerto Ricans are, so New Jersey's right there. So, my grandfather's in Newark, New Jersey, he meets my grandmother, they have 5 kids. And every single one of my dad's brothers and sisters ended up not graduating from school. His oldest brother just wasn't feeling school. He's extremely intelligent, but decided to work full-time at the zoo where he works. He currently still works, and he's the permanent electrician there. He fixes all the electric fences, if there's anything like that, all the computer monitors, everything. And he's also the fire chief at a volunteer firefighting center, so he made something. His second oldest brother is retired from the Army, and he got addicted to drugs and alcohol, and he's having a tough time, but he's pulling himself out of that. His oldest sister was going to graduate and dropped out 3 days before because she couldn't take it anymore, being in high school. And then his sister, just before him, ended up dropping out of high school so that she could marry an abusive boyfriend. And the interesting thing about that is my grandfather actually fought that abusive boyfriend, fist to fist, the conscientious objector, because he saw him hit his daughter. So that just goes to show you, even though he didn't want to fight communists, wife beaters are worse than communists. Now, my dad grew up in the projects, like I said, and he saw all of his older brothers and sisters dropping out of school, and they were making something of themselves. But his brother was in the Army, his other brother was a fire chief, and his other sister were working, so he was thinking, maybe the school stuff isn't for me. He would get jumped every single day when he would take the bus home. Taking the bus home took an hour. It took him another 30 minutes to walk to the projects. And he would get jumped every single day. So he thought, you know what, I need to go find a group of people that I can protect myself from. He fell into the wrong group of people doing that. And going through all that, my dad ended up deciding, maybe this isn't for me, I should go back to school. He ended up dropping out of the 10th grade 3 times. Re-enrolled, dropped out, re-enrolled, dropped out. The 3rd time he decided, you know what, school's definitely not for me. But his dad said, you have to make something of yourself. Go to the Army. My dad said, okay. because he was going to get kicked out or live on the streets. So he joined the Army. He came back, was working at Avis, which is a rental car facility, and he met my mom. My mom, conveniently, also grew up in North New Jersey, in the projects. They didn't know each other, they didn't go to the same school, and she ended up moving to Elizabeth. Her mother was a single mom, and she took care of her son and her daughter. My mom graduated with high honors from high school, and because they didn't have a lot of money, she didn't go to college. She ended up going to trade school. And to this day, my dad still makes more money than her. Just something interesting. Well, they didn't have a lot of money, so they ended up moving to Florida because they decided, hey, now that we have a daughter, my older sister, we need to find a better place for her than living in the projects. So they moved to Florida, and that gave me the opportunity to go to the high school that I did. Because the unique thing about Florida is that it has a magnet program called the International Baccalaureate Program that is usually reserved for private schools. But in my county, Hillsborough County, where Tampa is, they have a school called Robinson High School. It's right by McDill Air Force Base, which is where CENTCOM is now. And they go to, or the people that go there can enroll in the International Baccalaureate Program. So I said, hey, that might help me get a scholarship. I want to go to college. I'll do it. That was the hardest academic experience of my entire life. But I got through it. And it was only because my dad was willing to drive me 30 minutes in the morning every day to school, waking up, I woke up at 5 in the morning every day to go to the high school. And it's only because he was willing to drive me because we didn't have money for a car that I was able to go to the high school that I did. And then senior year rolls around and my parents divorce. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think any happy marriage ends in divorce. So it ends up being a better thing for the both of them. Having my parents happy and seeing them happy for the first time in a long time made me realize that even though bad things might happen to you, it's your outlook in life, the outlook of optimism that should guide you. And I'm going to finish off with a quote that Abraham Lincoln once said: "The folks are only about as happy as they make themselves out to be." Thank you.